Hey guys, today we're going to talk about armor and what it means to put on the full armor of God every day and how important that is. So, just jumping right into it, if you were a catcher, if you're a hitter, you're not going to walk out onto the field without your helmet, right? I mean, I've seen a couple people do it, but it's funny and everyone laughs. So, we don't walk out onto the softball field without our armor. So why would we do it every day in life, right? So, in Ephesians it talks about putting on the full armor of God and why it's so important. And it goes through very meticulously, like piece by piece, talking about the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the sword of the Spirit, and the rest of them. And it's definitely important, and I think sometimes we can overlook those in our everyday life because we just, we go through the motions, we don't worry really about armor, we're like, it's kind of silly to think about something like that. But in Ephesians it tells us that, this battle isn't of flesh and blood, but it's of a spiritual warfare, and so it's so hard for us to sometimes understand that because we can't see it, but faith is believing without seeing, right? So when we put on this armor, it protects us from all of these things that we can't see and all of this warfare that's going on around us, but sometimes I think it's so easy to just disregard it and walk around like, we're protected without putting on the things that we need to protect us, right? So just want to touch a little bit on that and to focus on every day how important it is to put on that armor, to be able to remember that you have to arm yourself, right? We're protected by a lot of stuff from all of this armor, and God gives us great power through it, but it doesn't work if we don't use it, right? We don't walk up to the plate without our bat, we don't go on the field without our glove. I mean, we think about these things because they're physical and we can see them all the time, but spiritually sometimes we let down our guard, and especially when we're home for the holidays. As a college student it's different to come home than it is when you're in high school because it's a little bit different, but we don't really have something we're fighting for, right? We're not trying to keep our grades up, we're not, practicing all the time, we're in our off-season workouts. But when we come home and we relax and we kind of just let our guard down, it kind of takes us to this place where, sometimes we think we're the safest, where we don't need to put on our armor, we don't need to fight these things, right? So even when we're home, it's important to put on that armor to protect yourself from the things that are, enemy doesn't take a break, right? So keep putting that armor on and keep protecting yourself because God gives us the tools to do that. And it's so important because when we forget, we leave ourselves vulnerable to those lies, and the enemy can make them sound so good, right? He can make us believe them like it's nothing. So make sure that you have that armor on, just like when you're walking out on the field, and hope that's something that you guys can really put to use, because I know it's something that we tend to forget a lot of the time. I mean, even just simply putting on your uniform every time you step onto the field, it's important, and it's something that, half the time we're running around the house trying to find half of it, but it's important. It has to be put on every time we go out to play. So remember, as you're walking through life, to put on that armor and to be able to trust in the strength that it gives us throughout each day.